are coming out of Japan, Tokyo, Japan. This is GAIJIN50 Plus. I was just explaining to Karl that I screwed up this setup, and I hope I didn't screw it up in such a way that we're not being broadcast. Because there we got some visitors. Good. So I'm having a little bit of trouble here because I have a double host, and I tried to mute one of them, but it didn't work. So I'm hearing a horrible echo in my ear. So please bear with me. Now wait a minute. Down at the bottom. Oh yeah, that's the one. Okay. So if somebody can. Okay, I'm gonna. All right, this is gonna look real bad during the replay, but I'm going to try to. Oh no, I'm in here. Okay, let's just go ahead. How you, Karl, today?
Good. It feels like spring is like it's still unsure whether it's coming or winter's fighting back. But I guess today was moderately warm.
Yeah.
So uh, I guess the big news over here, or I guess one of the big news is, and obviously we've got a bunch in that you prepared, but gas. It said in the okay. We paid 184 at the pump a couple of days ago, maybe yesterday or maybe the day before. So compared with like a couple of weeks ago, it was like low 140s. So it's a pretty big jump.
Well, let's talk
So
about that then.
okay.
Okay. Ooh. Here we go. There we go.
I guess if you're not, because you said you don't drive these days, or
No.
like you don't have a car anymore. So yeah, we could talk about the article and if you think it's going to affect you or not.
That's eventually it will, I guess, because prices of energy will eventually come into commodity prices. It has to be used. Energy has to be used to deliver goods and perform services. So I imagine that it will affect, but not
That's
directly,
weird.
not directly right now. Okay.
Yeah.
How about you? You do a lot of driving. Are you planning to cut back on your driving or anything like that?
We live basically just on the outside of Tokyo. Don't drive for work. There's a lot of like compared with the States, like if in the States if you drive 10,000 miles a year, they're like, oh, you barely drive at all. Whereas here, I think if you drive 10,000 kilometers a year, it's like, oh, okay. At least for people in the Tokyo metropolitan area. I guess people downtown Tokyo, like they use their car like once or twice a month, and that's why car sharing services are popular. But I sort of did the back of the napkin calculation, and maybe it's going to cost us an extra, it's like $500 a year for gas. But as you said, if the vegetables at the supermarket need gas to get to the supermarket, they got to price that in. So it's just not just what we pay at the pump. It's going to be everything. And, because of the weak yen, Takaichi was already like taking off taxes off of gas to make it cheaper. That's in a way that's foregoing income. It's like, okay, what are you going to do to fix the roads? And now it's going to be even more, and they're still not getting any tax money. And they're going to potentially open I'm pretty sure they're maybe already doing it, not sure, the strategic reserves. So
yeah,
it's a big deal. What do you think?
Well, if gasoline prices go up, people will say, "Okay, I'll just take the train." But it seems that the trains also will be going up also next month. The first price rise in the train fares in, I don't know, 40 years or something like that.
No. That's not correct. So From where I live to downtown Tokyo, it's gone up. I want to say 20% in the last, like, since COVID. I think prices have been going up since COVID, probably after the yen got so weak.
Is that JR?
In my case, it's a different line, but I'm pretty sure JR has also gone up.
All right.
I,
Um,
I think when Suica and Passmo were introduced, I want to say that's almost 20 years ago. But at one point, maybe this is related to the sales tax, and I don't have my facts with me right now, but there was a deal where, like, the electronic price was cheaper than the cash price, something like that. Anyway, I do believe that prices have been going up. I don't think it's correct that they haven't gone up. They're just going up again. So,
well, here's the article. I don't know what it's referring to, but it says passengers riding East Railroad Railway Company, JR East, starting from March 14th, will be hit with the railway's first fare increase since its founding in 1987. Apart from previous adjustments for tax hikes and accessibility surcharges.
So maybe it was the accessibility surcharges that made the difference. I don't know, but pretty sure that it's already gone up. And it's possible that I'm more sensitive to the private line that goes near my house rather than JR. So I could be confusing that.
It seems like pretty tricky, like they're lawyering the truth there, right? No price raises, but except for this and except for that and except for the other thing, right?
We've got our regulars here.
Yeah.
And they're pitching in on facts for us.
Stephen Martin. Hey, Steve Martin, thank you for the email. He sent me a bunch of information, and I'm interested in this. We talked about it last time, JAL123, and I'm going to be doing a video on that in the not too distant future. And he says, thinking of trading my 14-year-old high ace for a Noah Voxy hybrid, almost triple the mileage and a 1,000 kilometer range. Do you have a hybrid or anything like that?
My car?
Yeah.
So I drive a Freed hybrid. So if a Freed is basically a 6-person minivan on the chassis of a Honda Fit. So it's like smaller than a Civic, but it has 3 rows of seats. It's like the smallest minivan you can imagine, but it's a minivan.
Okay.
And it's a hybrid. It's a 1.5 liter hybrid, and it gets something between 10 and 12 kilometers per liter with the driving that we do. So it's, which works out to be like 25, 30 miles to the gallon. So it's not like, because like a lot of times you see car reviews like, 50 miles to the gallon, like actual at the pump. It's not that, but, it's not terrible either. And we probably drive, like, most of our trips are probably like less than 3 miles. So, so
okay. And Rich says 161 liter is equivalent to 393 US,
presumably per gallon. Yep. And I don't know what the prices are in the States these days.
I think Kelvin mentioned. Okay, I missed that one. We are at 289 US dollars per gallon at Costco here. Okay.
I mean, whoever said it, it's always been cheaper in the States. Yeah, that's true. So actually, if we're at 393 and they're at 289, it doesn't seem like it's any different from usual. I mean, that's like the same discrepancy. Although now, there's no taxes paying for upkeep of roads and stuff like that. So. In a way, we're mortgaging our infrastructure of future by taking those off.
Yeah. Okay. And the price of gas is not the problem. It's the price of oil, right? Of course. That's the basic, right? and it's processing the gas, steel, jet fuel, plastics, and everything else. So it will affect the cost of living for all of us.
Yeah.
And JR East is going up 10 yen. And Kamakura Garden Robert is stocking up on fertilizer.
Fertilizer. Yeah.
Who's a Kamakura Garden? Do you know?
Gardener. I do not know this person, but my guess is they have a YouTube channel and they're probably talking about it on there.
Okay, sure. My echo is driving me crazy. Freed has good reviews. The Freed Plus seems to be popular for overnight car camping.
Yeah, it's it fits a bunch of people, or it fits people, fewer number of people and some luggage, but it doesn't really fit. Like you can't fill the seats and they all have luggage to go on a trip or something. It's not that big. But so a friend of mine who lived in I want to say Tokushima mentioned that out there people have, like, everybody needs their own car because you can't get anywhere without a car. So families have a big car like Alphard. I don't know if you know what that was. A Toyota. It's like a much bigger minivan, and then they'll have like a K car or like this little one. But around in Tokyo, you only have space to put one car, so people get a sort of medium-sized minivan.
Yeah, vans are pretty popular, aren't they?
And so I think in the States, minivans are basically dead. Everybody wants an SUV. But in Japan, minivans are called wanboksu. And I think like half the cars are that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right. David Cole says, hello back at you, David. And Alphard, yeah, the limousine of Japan.
Yeah, there's a Lexus version too.
So. All right. And Steve says Robert works at NHK. He used to be an adjunct at TUJ and has lived here for 44 years. You ought to get him to come over here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm getting a new car next week, Mazda CX-5. I don't know. What is a Mazda CX-5? Do you know?
I want to say that's a crossover SUV. And if I'm not mistaken, everybody says it's great.
Oh, really?
And I'm guessing it's certainly not electric, and it's probably either a mild hybrid or not. But I'm sure David's going to be able to tell us better than I can.
Okay. Oh yeah, it looks like RV kind of thing. SUV. It's okay. Yeah. And then we have from the back there in our house, I can see Henzajima, where Saudi Aramco stores about 1.2 days worth of Japanese strategic oil reserve. And if you go there in person, it seems huge. Maybe you can run a pipe over there.
But I mean, I guess 1.2 days for 120 million people. So that seems like it could be huge.
Yeah.
So let's say people use on average, I have no idea whether it's 1 liter or 5 liters or 10 liters, but 1.2 days, if everybody in Japan uses a liter of gas, I think this is gas we're talking about, a day, that's 120 million liters. I can't do the math in my head, but that's probably, that would seem like pretty big.
Yeah. And I wonder how big the total strategic oil reserve holds.
So the number I've heard is 254 days. I heard that. I guess I heard that at the beginning of, so like at the end of February when the US and Israel went into Iran.
Okay.
So when people were getting worried.
All right. David Cole, 2.5 liter gas engine. I guess that's on the Mazda.
Which for the States is like maybe the small one, but in Japan it's a fairly decent size engine.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, anything else to say about gases? Gas? Uh, I heard Japan is much better than England or the EU countries for keeping oil reserves. Yeah, 254 days sounds close to what I heard. Okay.
So on the one hand, it's long. I heard countries like India don't have very much, and so they're going to be pretty desperate sooner. On the other hand, Japan apparently imports 90% of its oil and natural gas through the Straits of Hormuz. So it makes sense that they have longer. But if this drags out, multi years, then we're going to have to figure out what's going to go on.
All right. Okay, there's one story I want to talk about a little bit. Actually, I want to ask about. I don't see our usual Osaka crew here, but this is one about the giant pipe.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, I mean, of course, everybody knows about this. It's been reported for the past week all over the places. But I'm still trying to figure out how physically this happened.
Mm-hmm.
That just suddenly this pipe appears out of the ground and busts through the asphalt and keeps going for 13 meters and almost hit the highway above.
Mm-hmm.
And the official says the pipe was part of an underground conduit being prepared to store rainwater. And on Tuesday, workers reportedly removed groundwater that had accumulated in the pipe. And officials said they do not know whether the operation played a role in the pipe's emergence. And I don't understand at all why removing water would cause the pipe to bust through asphalt. Does anybody know what caused this?
I'm sure it has something to do with physics.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, it was all over the news in Japan this week. So
Yeah.
yes, I can.
Giant, hey man, giant pie.
Yes.
I ain't never seen a pipe like that.
They were a little before my time, but I saw lots of clips on YouTube about all their movies. They would never make it in Japan. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. I used to love Cheech and Chong, even though I was already outside of the States when they were popular. I remember one song that they did that I heard here, "Earache My Eye." I don't know if you ever heard that.
Earache my eye.
Earache My Eye.
Earache my eye. Okay.
The kid doesn't want to get up in the morning, and the father says, "Get up, get ready for school." And I got an earache, and the father goes, "Earache my eye." So that was the name.
The my eye means like that's bullshit, right?
Well, my eye. That I don't know. Don't they use that expression anymore?
It's not one that is in my super frequent repertoire. Although, I want to say my something else.
Butt.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But they used to say my eye back then.
Got it.
And I remember it because still, on records and stuff like that, they were pretty clean, and you weren't really allowed to get that naughty. And in that particular routine, the father finally had the kid get up, and he says, "I'm going to discipline you. Bend over." And the kid goes, "What are you going to do, you pervert?" So I thought that was real naughty at the time.
Okay. I see.
All right. We got a couple of people pining in. Oil from Russia. Well, there's that too. And the pipe floated because of soil saturation. If you bury an empty tank, it'll float right out of the ground if the oil gets saturated. Is that the same phenomena that happens during earthquakes?
Ekijoka? So I was just having a conversation about ekijoka. I guess it's liquefaction. And so apparently, places that are built on top of, I guess, silt. The silt is so soil particles with water trapped in it, and if the during an earthquake, the water gets shaken loose from the silt, and then the water goes away,
Yeah.
and then everything sinks down.
Right.
So, and I guess if the ground sinks, then the things in the ground float up. Like,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
And that reclaimed land has a lot of
Yes,
that.
yes, yeah, yeah.
And I don't know if you've seen movies of the big Tohoku earthquake
Hmm.
uh, in Chiba. There's a lot of
Yeah, yeah,
reclaimed land,
sure.
and that was eerie to see that. Right.
It's so it's not something that you were aware of as a phenomenon.
Yeah.
So, like, to see it, it's like, what's going on? Like, everything's sinking into the street. It's
Yeah.
really weird. If there's
Or
somebody who has haven't seen it, they should go see it.
or the water is suddenly spouting under the ground. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Rich says Dave ain't here. David Cole is here somewhere. He's pretty quiet, but he's here. Earache my eyes, Sister Mary Elephant. There you go. Steve Martin heard it. Earache my eye, classic. You want a butt ache? Yeah, that was it. The Dr. Demento store had some great songs, including CNC, Dead Puppies was the hoot, Fish Heads, Poisoning Pigeons in the Park. They're coming to take me away. Ha ha
Oh,
he.
okay. I know that song. They're coming to
Yeah.
take me away.
Well,
It's called
I'll confess
Dr. Demento. Okay.
since I'm in audience that appreciates that. I've got a collection of about 7 or 8 best of Dr. Demento shows, CDs, and I still love listening to them. One of my favorite was Jim Stafford, Cow Patty. Did you ever hear Cow Patty?
No.
It's a cowboy song, and there's a duel. I mean, a shootout at the end, and one of the people in the shootout slipped on some cow dung in the street. And the moral
Okay.
of the story is watch your step when the chips are down. But okay, corny jokes,
Okay.
but good stuff, Dr. Demento.
Yeah.
Off to walk the dog. Have a good week. Okay, take it easy. He made
Thanks for joining.
42.
Yeah.
All right. Dale. Oh, Dave ain't here. Sorry about that. Yeah.
That's a famous line from Cheech and Chong movie or something.
I guess it must have been a routine. I'm not familiar with it. Dave ain't here. Yeah. So it must be a Cheech and Chong routine. Okay. All right. I thought that pipe thing was just so weird.
Yeah, it's
Remember? Go ahead.
yeah, I agree. And it also feels weird that it was like all over the national news for a week.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Do you remember the last week we did a story about the guy who took the girl out and forced her to drink
yes, the tequila one.
all the tequila?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, evidently that made the news because that court case was coming to an end.
Hmm.
So I've got the result of the court case. The guy got 14 years for this woman's death. Sentenced to 32 shots, and prosecutors evidently had sought a 16-year sentence, but the
Hmm.
judge showed mercy and gave him only 14 years. And I don't know, do they let people off for good behavior in Japan, or will he have to serve the full 14 years?
That's a subject I haven't looked into much.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah.
Okay. He pleaded not guilty, and he said he had taken the woman to a hotel to take care of her. Sounds, I'm not getting, I wasn't, I don't know all the facts, but it sounds a little bit shaky to me. Being a
Hmm.
guy,
Hmm.
so he had forced the woman to drink 10 shots in the last 10 minutes. They were together at the bar after she had declined to his advances to go to a hotel. Now that is some wild. drinking.
I guess he admitted to this. I mean, I guess it's better that he told the truth, but it just seems like lacks of any common sense.
But this last sentence really had me scratching my head. He says to the woman, "Let's go to a hotel." She goes, "No, no, no, no. I'm not that kind of girl." So he said, "Okay, drink this shot, 10 shots of tequila in 10 minutes." And she said, "Oh, okay. That kind of girl I am." So it's the whole thing is pretty funny, as horrible as it is.
Yeah,
Yeah. So anyway, as we know, the poor woman passed away because of alcohol shock.
yeah.
All right. We got any comments here? Dave ain't rake my eyes. Off to walk the dog. He 4 years says that almost sounds like a Cheech and Chong routine.
We've got an interesting one from Rich here.
Okay. Alexander Kurtz says Tokyo Reporter Online is a good source for Japan crimes, intrigues, and you're right. That's one of my favorite sources in the past that I had forgotten about. Tokyo Reporter. I gotta make a note of that so I don't forget it anymore. I used to have another one that I tried to chase down, but it no longer exists. But Tokyo Reporter, you're correct. They have a lot of good stories, and I'll add it. How long is the bartender? Yeah, okay. Rich got a point there.
I think in the States, everybody sues everybody. I think sometimes the bars can be sued or are sued for sort of like you should have known better than to give that person a drink. So that's because it seems like it wasn't mentioned at all in the article. It's a good point. Isn't there a system for if somebody's looking to, if a lawmaker is looking to save lives in the future, they could use this and say like, well, we should have a system where like we know there's only, it's probably like they're ordering from a tablet or something like that. I don't know what kind of bar it was, but it's like there's two people in that room and they've ordered 60 shots. It's like you might think, well, maybe that's not appropriate.
Yeah.
Maybe there should be a system to cut people off.
And they some years ago they passed a law that said bartenders or shop owners are responsible if a person goes out and gets in a car and gets in an accident from drunk driving. They can be
But it's in
held
Japan?
liable. Yeah, in Japan. Yeah.
Well, it may not be technically the same because it was, killed with shots as opposed to killed with a car after shots.
Yeah.
But, it sure seems like very similar a similar thought process as to why the bar would be responsible.
Yeah, you would think as they're ordering 32 shots, somebody might go, well, what's going on over there? Yeah.
Now, I know restaurants, they have robots that serve the food. Do they have robots that serve the alcohol too? So in that case, if it's not in the program, then the robot doesn't care.
I would think not. Because how would you control? How would you keep alcohol away from youngsters, right?
Well, if you go in, maybe they don't care because I'm obviously over 21 or 20 or whatever it is.
Oh, really?
But yeah, but if you go into convenience store, then in the States they say, okay, show your, like if you look like you're less than 100, they say show us your ID, and then in Japan, and they scrutinize it and they stick it on a machine that can detect fakes. In Japan, there's just a LCD screen and it says, I'm over 20. You push the button and they're like, okay, yeah, we believe you by default. So,
yeah. As a source, Steve Martin suggests Jake Adelstein on Substack. I don't know if you're familiar with Jake, but he did a book about Japanese yakuza that is very well known. I think he sold pretty well. I don't know, but it's a very well known book. Okay. Uh, David Cole, is the robot going to ask your age? Yeah. There's a. Oh, by the way, I
It,
went with Tokyo Dan for breakfast this
mhm.
morning to the
Oh,
local
nice.
Jonathan's,
Hmm.
and we were served by a robot. Yeah. It's
Sure. Well, I mean, that's what it is.
yeah. And there was the wait staff did absolutely nothing. You ordered on the tablet, it was delivered by a robot, and you went to the front and did
Did
your
you
own
pay at a
checkout.
kiosk?
Yeah, but they had wait staff running around in case somebody had a problem, but they weren't
Hmm.
really involved with what was going on.
Sure.
All right. I never understand sentencing in Japan. Yes, welcome to the club. I remember when a guy in Kyoto kidnapped a 10-year-old girl and kept her prisoner for over 10 years. He got sentenced to only 9 years in prison. I agree. I agree with that very much, as a matter of fact. It's hard to understand the sentencing around here. I think I mentioned a number of times Runa Tamura up in Hokkaido, where she decapitated a man who I guess abused her or did something to her, and that her mother and father actually assisted her before the
Hmm.
fact and after the fact, and she brought the guy's head home, and they helped her photograph it, and the father and mother got suspended sentences because they said they were intimidated by their daughter. And as far as I know, she's still in her court case is still going on. So it's going to be interesting to see whatever happens to her. But
And
I agree
is
with you.
she being confined during her what while they're still trying to decide the sentence, or is she out?
I believe she's confined, but I don't know
Okay.
for
Mm,
sure. Yeah, I should check that out because it's something that I track down every once in a while.
yeah.
Um, yeah,
You're into these kind of gruesome crimes.
yeah, very. Yeah, not interested. Interested in crimes that are gruesome and get big publicity when they're performed and then disappear from
Mm,
media.
sure. Yeah.
And I wonder whatever became of that. That Runa Tamura and the bishop murder case, that family that was massacred by their neighbor. But anyway, that's off the point. Good point, David. Everyone and everything headed for a digital twin. Oh, the robot asking for your age, right? Digital twin. That's a good
Mhm.
way to
So
put it.
in the future, the robots will go out for a drink, and then the robots will ask the robots for their
There
age.
you go. Jake Adelstein mixes facts and fiction, according to Alexander Kurtz. Most of his stories are pornographically embellished. He has his own definition of reality. You know, Alexander, I was actually trying to remain rather neutral in this discussion. So I didn't say anything. I just said Adelstein wrote a book that's very well known, and I didn't make a quality judgment. But I, I think there are a lot of people that criticize Adelstein just the way you just did. So um, it might be. I am not in a position to say one way or the other, but he is criticized a lot about his reporting. Okay. Speaking of crime, I'm still peeved at Matsuri Takahashi's Christmas Eve suicide and Dentsu's response. Is that the woman who was working for Dentsu and she worked herself to death? I'm not sure of this woman's.
I don't know, but so if you say densu and then suicide, it sounds
Yeah,
like it's a overwork issue.
yeah, and even the way Dentsu responded to the woman's mother and stuff like that, pretty terrible. And well, Dentsu is known for being a pretty terrible company from the get go.
But
I was
powerful.
back
A
when
powerful country, yeah,
during the bubble,
company.
they were a lot of people, Japanese people said they are the Japanese CIA, Dentsu.
Denso, they're advertising agency, right?
Yeah, but they had because they were an advertising agency. They had their fingers in a lot of international pies, and they would report back to the government and all that kind of thing.
Interesting.
Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but a lot of people said that. Okay. Thank you, Alexander. I'm trying to be a diplomat. I've got to be the host here, right? Okay. Uh, Steve says, yes, Karoshi, Tokyo University graduates still young. Yeah, it's terrible that that kind of thing still is happening. Yeah. Dentsu was once a company that a lot of young people wanted to work for, but they've sort of lost their shine. The bloom has come off that rose.
I don't know, but I would guess that the fate of major advertisers like Dentsu sort of parallel the popularity of, for example, broadcast TV and like magazines and so forth, and both of those have sort of fallen off from their heights. So
Yeah,
it makes sense.
yeah, it does, doesn't it? Okay. So Japanese law. All right. I've got another one. All right, everybody.
Mhm.
I'm going to warn you. If you ate before this episode,
Mhm.
you might want to turn away from the screen.
Oh, it's actually not that gross. I think I know which one you're going for now.
What is it? The following. What is it? What do they always say? What's that disclaimer? Viewer discretion is
Is
advised,
advised, yes.
especially if you're from a place like Chicago or New York, maybe Detroit. I don't know, but here we go.
Hey, the people from Yokohama might be offended too.
There you go. Here you go. Pizza Hut is coming out with a ramen pizza. Ta-da, ta-da, ta-da. Ramen pizza. I don't know. I saw that and I said to myself, no, 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 no. That's almost as bad as pineapple pizza. So let's
Some
look
people
at
swear by pineapple pizza.
uh,
So, not me, but some people swear by pineapple pizza.
yeah, some people swear by it. I swear at it. But by the way, they said in this story that this is just an image photograph, that you really cannot stick chopsticks into the pizza and pull up ramen like this. So
Yeah. So they say image, right? So
yeah,
that's like this is like to get your imagination going.
right.
It's
Image
not a
search.
picture of the product.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Pizza Hut releases a ramen style pizza in Japan, and it took a half a year to perfect. A half a year of research and development. And it's called the Kotteri Fu Ramen Pizza. And down here, Kotteri Fu means thick style, which is in reference
Okay.
to the thick and rich Kotteri broth served up at Tenka Ippin, a ramen restaurant with 50 years of history that's been ranked #1 in popularity polls.
I would call out koteri. So I don't think thick, because thick can give you the impression of like if you measure it from the crust to the toppings. But this, I would say heavy. Like koteri means like lots of fat and stuff that's not good for you.
Yeah. Yeah, this calling it thick style seems like somebody looked up the word in a dictionary and used the first word they came up with,
Yeah.
right? It can be called thick, meaning a thick broth, but
Mhm.
most people wouldn't,
So
I
like I
think.
guess another word which doesn't roll off the tongue, but like highly concentrated.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, something like
so,
that. All right.
but
So what it is they use the a sauce that has the taste of the ramen shop's signature broth. And what they did, because you can't just pour soup on a pizza
Mhm.
without it running off all over the place, so they had to thicken it even more, so, like, it would stick to the surface of the pizza. So I rode up to here, and I thought, "Oh, okay," and they said, "The creamy broth is made from chicken bones, blah, blah, blah," and so Pizza Hut worked with the ramen chain to make it more viscous, giving it a sauce-like texture without changing the taste or the aroma. Now, when I first rode up just up to right up to here, I thought, well, at least they didn't put noodles on top of the
Mhm.
pizza,
Mhm. Mhm.
but little did I know that's exactly what they did. Um, it says the highlight of the new pizza is the noodles. And though it was a challenge to preserve their texture while adding them to the topping by choosing crispy dough, they were able to successfully combine the ingredients. Wow. The- What do you think, Carl?
I have so many things I want to say. um, so okay, so like in defense of this pie, which I'm not. So for me, like this is, I guess in a word, it's gross. But in defense of this pie, there's such a thing as spaghetti pie, right? It's like a casserole. It's like lasagna, but made with spaghetti instead. Um, and there's no like bread like crust, but it's basically all spaghetti, and people eat that and they enjoy it. So noodles in pie slash casserole form, it exists.
Mac and
Uh,
cheese.
there, that sounds so much better than this though.
Right.
Um,
To me, it's the juxtaposition of the two words, pizza and ramen.
so actually, okay, so that's my second point. So I looked up, I of course, what all good investigators do. They go to YouTube and they type in ramen pizza and see what comes up. And even from like 9 years ago, you can find recipes for ramen pizza. But what those people mean is they take it. So this would be like somebody in the States. They take instant ramen, they boil it quickly, and then they use the noodles as the base. So there's no pizza crust. And then they put on toppings and then they bake it in the oven. And then the noodles are crispy and chewy. And the flavor is basically a pizza flavor, but they don't like concentrate the the ramen soup and put that on top. So
Okay. All right. Yeah, actually, noodles should go well. With I mean, spaghetti is noodles.
I got two or three more. So another one is so I lived in Hiroshima for a while, and Hiroshima okonomiyaki has udon or soba in it. So bam, this is and uh, okonomiyaki is often, I think, somewhat um, inaccurately described as Japanese pizza.
Yeah.
They're the same in that you can choose what toppings you put on it, but that's probably about where the similar and they're round. That's about where the similarity ends. But um, I love Hiroshima okonomiyaki, so this is in some ways it's like that. And okay, then the last one that I have is this sauce. It's like basically they said it was made from chicken bones and vegetables. Chicken pot pie, the gravy inside a chicken pot pie is probably not that different from what they have here in chicken pot pie. That sounds tasty.
Yeah.
So I guess don't kick it until you try it.
Yeah. Well, come to
But
think of it,
but
chicken
I'm
pot
not going
pie was
to.
one of my favorite dishes when I was a youngster. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Mm,
Me too.
yeah. Love that stuff. But I
So
wonder, what the carb count is on that on a ramen pizza.
it's probably not the carbs that are gonna kill you. It's probably the kotteri stuff,
Yeah.
all the fat. Now, like chashu, that's like the pork that's in ramen. It's like bacon or pepperoni. That seems like it works. but the concentrated ramen soup as a sauce, just listening to it, it sounds like it's going to be gross. But like actually, it's like before I ever had sushi, I thought that can't taste good. It's just raw fish. But try it. It's like, oh, this is awesome. So maybe I will turn out to be wrong.
Is there a Pizza Hut near where we went the other day?
Yeah, there's probably Pizza Hut like in all sorts of places. So yeah, probably.
Let's go. Let's go try it out.
Okay. All
All
right.
right. I'll talk to you later. We can do
Yeah.
a special report.
Okay. Just have your what's your heart attack medicine.
Yeah, Pepto-Bismol.
Yeah.
Okay. They were saying that Pizza Hut took a half a year to perfect this product, and this is part of their campaign, always more than you can imagine.
Mm.
And this is the third new pizza that they came up with. Previous creations were too much coriander pizza, which sounds okay. And the second one was Wiener coffee pizza.
You know Wiener coffee, right?
Yeah, Vienna coffee.
So in German, Vienna is Wien, so that becomes Wiener. So Wiener Vienna coffee, Vienna being famous for its confectionaries, is coffee with whipped cream on top.
Yep.
So sorry, is this pizza with coffee and whipped cream? I guess if I could choose, I would choose this one over that one.
Yeah.
Always more than you can imagine. Yes, I agree.
And the chain's first two pizzas proved to be so popular, with sales for the coriander-laden pizza extended due to demand. So, like I said, coriander doesn't sound that bad.
Okay, so now in my version of English, coriander is the seeds and cilantro is the leaves.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
But maybe in British English, coriander also, and to me, those are quite different. So maybe they're talking, and I can't imagine putting coriander seeds on a pizza. Maybe they were talking about cilantro, and then it tastes, it's like Mexican food or something. So if it was cilantro, that might sound better. And this is Japan today. They need a new translator who understands food.
Yeah, it is Japan today. I got a lot of stuff from Japan today. Actually, Japanese news this week was real boring. Japan's a pretty boring country normally, except for
you mean peaceful.
Pardon?
Hey, what?
So, yeah. Okay.
So sometimes
we got a bunch of comments here about the. All right. First of all, so let's go back to Alexander. He says, "Don't get me wrong. The criticisms I held against Adelstein are based on personal experience. This is what many Yakuza told me personally." Okay. Thanks for letting us know. And thanks for confirming what I had heard previously. Okay. All right. Ramen pizza. I could go with that. Better than natto pizza. Yeah, but natto's not bad when you get used to it. Do you eat natto?
Every day.
Yeah.
So so it has vitamin K2 in it, which is supposed to be good for your bones. And like if you get used to it, then it's like, this is good for me. There are lots of things that like I probably couldn't get used to, but natto is one that I definitely can get used to, and it's dirt cheap. So
did I ever tell you my natto story? Did I tell
you
it
did
here
not
before? I did not though.
What's your natto story?
My first 6 or 7 years in Japan were down in Fukuoka, and it was when the Shinkansen only went as far as Osaka. So Fukuoka was a pretty far out backwater that didn't have a direct connection.
Yeah.
So I was in Fukuoka and eating Japanese food and thinking, oh yeah, I can handle anything. And then after some time, I moved to Tokyo, and of course, people asking, do you like Japanese food? And I said, yeah, yeah. And they said, how about sashimi? And sashimi's okay, everything okay. And they would say, how about natto? And I had,
Mhm.
after living here for 6 or 7 years, I had never heard of natto. They didn't have natto in Fukuoka back then. They didn't eat it. So this happened a number of times. So I went home and I said to my wife, who's of course from Fukuoka, I said, "What's natto? I keep hearing about natto," and she said, "That's vile stuff. Nobody eats that shit." Sorry about it. And
Yeah.
so I said, "Well, I want to try it because everybody says it's the mark of the gaijin who can eat Japanese food."
Yeah.
So she bought it, and I ate it the first time, and I hated it. It was terrible. It stunk. It was hard to handle. So I gave up on it right away. Right away. So then um, my kids, as they grew up and started going to school, they started eating natto in the lunch served at
Oh,
school.
okay.
And they would say to their mother, "Mother, get some natto. I want to eat natto." So it was on the table. So I would eat a little bit. And I would say 3 or 4 times, suddenly it started tasting good. Like you said, you get used to it
Mhm.
for some reason. And
Yeah.
now I like it. I put it on toast and English muffins. And
It, they say to get the health benefits, you shouldn't like heat it up
yeah,
because the vitamin K2 breaks down.
yeah,
So
yeah.
like I've heard of natto toast, but if you want the benefits, you shouldn't like stick it in the oven.
Oh, I don't.
Um,
I don't put it. I toast the
oh,
bread
you make the toast
and
and
then
then you put it on the
yeah,
toast. Okay,
yeah.
got it. Oh,
Another.
and
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, so natto vitamin K2, and so like even in the States now, when people look up vitamin K2, it's like, oh, this it gets the calcium to go in the bones and not into your arteries, so uh, it helps with osteoporosis. And
Well, okay.
so natto is as like for example, mito natto is the name of like mito is known for natto, and so actually, so the Tohoku, the northern part of Japan, eats a lot more natto than Fukuoka, as you've just told us.
Yeah.
And it turns out more people in Western Japan have osteoporosis than people in the north of Japan. So, and
Okay.
they say it's not like a randomized controlled clinical trial, but the places where they eat more natto have less issues with osteoporosis than places
Yeah.
that don't. So
I will
so
say
I eat it
these
every day.
days,
Yeah.
these days, because of the uniting of the country culturally
Hmm. Hmm.
with the Shinkansen and ability to move goods and services, they are
Hmm.
eating natto in Fukuoka these days. These
Sure.
days, yeah.
But my guess is that it's not like, I mean, with people like your wife, if they were still in Fukuoka, they probably wouldn't start eating natto. But maybe people like your kids would.
Yeah, right, right.
Yeah.
And it's talking about mito. If you ever drive through there in Ibaraki Prefecture and stop at the Mita rest area,
Hmm.
and you can get a hot dog with natto on top, and it's pretty good.
Okay.
Not
Better than too much karashi.
yeah. Don't get. Do you know, if I may, uh,
Hmm.
go off on a tangent? I may have mentioned this last time. That video performed
Hmm.
so poorly.
The
Nobody's
the
watching it.
the last week's oh no, you did a short or a regular video about
No,
your
the
experience
regular video about the baseball game.
with
Oh, yeah, I did a short about Karachi too, right?
you were thinking that Japanese karashi mustard is the
Yeah,
same as
yeah, yeah,
French's, and
yeah.
it
That was
wasn't.
yeah, the short got a lot of views, but the
Uh-huh.
long one about the Japanese baseball game, the first baseball game I went to,
Yeah.
got horrible views, and it was one of
Hmm.
these recollection videos, and I can't understand why to this day. So
Yeah.
anyway, that's just me. All right. Better than natto pizza. And
So while we're still on pizza, like, did you? So, like, for example, were you surprised by any toppings that you found on pizza in Japan? Like that you didn't experience in the States, and like, whoa, they put that on pizza?
well, I mentioned this a number of times. The first time I had pizza in Fukuoka, it was at a department store down in the basement. They opened
Hmm.
a pizza shop, and oh, pizza! We went in. My wife and I were dating at the time, and we sat down, and they brought the pizza, and it had rice on it. That was a big shock. Yeah, rice
It's
on
like,
pizza.
what?
What? It was one of those. Yeah, one of those things.
I
But the
guess,
pineapple
yeah.
pineapple pizza, the first time I saw it was here. I thought that
Okay.
was pretty weird. Hmm.
So,
How
like, for
about
example, sometimes they have like German pizza where they put like potatoes and bacon on
yeah,
it,
yeah.
or I've had octopus on it, which I guess they put calamari on pizza sometimes. I guess people could say, well, anchovies, that's kind of gross. Um, or like katsuobushi, I think I've seen
Oh,
katsuobushi on
really?
pizza here, or maybe like mentai pizza.
Yeah, mentai
Um,
pizza, I've had that,
and I
yeah.
think gorgonzola and honey is popular here too, which maybe it's not a Japanese original, but I never had it in the States. So,
I
uh,
would never think of putting honey on a pizza. I don't know.
it's a dessert pizza, but still,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I mean, I guess it can be tasty, but it's not pizza.
And some pizza has a mayonnaise on it. I
Yeah,
can't take that. Yeah. Mm.
yeah. I guess like a mayonnaise and okonomiyaki, that seemed weird too.
Yeah.
But it tastes good, so
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
knock it till you try it.
Was that you and I who were talking, or was that somewhere else about the guy who used to drink mayonnaise? It was in the
But you're talking about,
comments.
I don't know the guy's name. What was the guy's name? I think we did talk about it briefly,
Yeah. I looked up
but
his name. I got it. And he used to walk around with a big jug of Kewpie mayonnaise and walk along and yeah.
is
And
that
then
Katori Shingo? Is that
I
Katori
can't
Shingo,
remember.
or is
I
it
can't
before
remember
that?
offhand. I
Okay,
can't remember offhand. And then while researching that, I found out that drinking pizza from the bottle is a thing in other countries too, including the
sorry,
United States.
mayonnaise. You mean?
Yeah, mayonnaise. What did I say?
Yeah, pizza.
Pizza. Mayonnaise. You know what I meant.
That's why I confirmed. But yes,
Okay, we got the Hawaiian pizza with pineapple. You love it, David. Oh, come on. I don't know. Anyway, ironically, one of the best Italian pizzas that you can eat in Japan can be found in Okinawa's outer island, Ishigaki. The restaurant is called Il Trecorde. Well, I have heard in some of these news stories that Japanese pizza restaurants always score quite high in the pizza rankings of the world. And yeah,
I think a lot of Japanese people like who want to get serious about pizza. They go to Italy and learn the craft, and then they come back and they're very meticulous about it. And yeah, it ends up being pretty good. I think like if you're used to a Chicago or a New York or a Domino's style pizza, it might be more delicate. Um, but I think it's pretty good.
yeah, I agree. Exactly. My opinion is the same as yours. There's an Italian guy that's a student of mine at the
Hmm.
university. He's an exchange student, and he speaks really good Japanese. Very good guy, young man. And I asked him, "How is Japanese Italian food?" And he said, "It's a kind of cosplay." So he said, especially spaghetti. He said the way they cook spaghetti in Italy is totally different from the way they cook it here. But he says that there are some good, authentic pizza places in Japan as well. So,
Hmm. Yeah.
okay. Alexander says pizzas are cooked on a real wood-fired oven. I guess it's down in Okinawa. Yeah, it does make a difference, wood fire, doesn't it?
I think in the States, a lot of them are like not charcoal, coal.
Coal.
Coal-fired ovens is. I mean,
Mhm.
obviously Domino's isn't going to do that, but um, I guess there's different styles. But um, like Japanese restaurants, there's a lot of small restaurants that they focus on just one thing, and then they do that one thing really, really, really well, and they optimize for it. And so if you just want pizza and you already know what you want, I can imagine that there are some very good restaurants for pizza in Japan.
Long ago at my wife's house, when her mother and father were still alive and genki, they used to coal fire their ofuro, their bath water. And it feels different. A coal-fired bath
Really?
feels
Yeah.
different from gas-fired bath. Maybe it's just me, but I don't know, but it felt different to me. And she also used to cook, rice with
Hmm.
a wood fire and, hitting it
Okay.
with the fan and because the father said, "Oh, it doesn't taste good if it's unless it's wood-fired rice." So
I know that like uh, made with so rice cooked. So most cookers are electric at home, but if it's cooked with gas, then it's got more heat and it's supposed to be better. But I had not heard. And there's what kama kamameshi.
yeah.
So, and I don't know if kamameshi is done over an actual fire, but um, anyway,
Well, that's
uh,
what they had in the kitchen. They had a big kama, and they
yeah.
would
Hmm.
cook cook the day's rice there. And have you
Hmm.
ever looked at those deluxe rice cookers that they have now? That is
There's a bunch of deluxe rice cookers in Japan. Which ones are you talking about?
about in general that they're
Okay, yeah.
supposed to be AI and HI
The,
or
it,
IH.
so IH is induction heating.
Mm.
That's a heating technology, not like some sort of computer brain. And then the old word, this is like more than 30 years old for sure, fuzzy technology,
There you
which
go.
which probably uses some sort of feedback to adjust its cooking. But
Uh,
I'm sure that there are dedicated researchers working on how to improve uh, rice in Japan for sure.
but those kind of cookers, I thought I saw a rice cooker one time,
Hmm.
a report on it on
Hmm.
YouTube or the TV, and I thought, "Wow, that sounds pretty good." I think I'm gonna go out and check it out. Then I checked it out. It's over 100,000 yen for a rice
Yeah,
cooker.
there is one brand that is it's quite popular, and yes, it's like right around 100,000 yen.
Yeah.
Um, and I can't. I think it starts with a V or something. Maybe one of our viewers knows, but it's not just for cooking rice. It does some other like slow cooking kind of things. But it's apparently awesome. So.
Okay, Steve Martin chimes in that Uh, hi, AK. That reminds me of a pretty good pizza place at Kawaguchiko, also traditionally baked, but so many curry shops. I call it Kareguchiko. Ah,
Yeah.
okay. Do you know I ran a marathon many decades ago, which
Oh
consisted of
wow.
2 laps around Kawaguchiko. So
Okay.
that was a gas.
That's the one of the places to go in the summer for sure to get away from the Tokyo heat.
Right. So, are you going to do a Gaijin 50 Plus Saturday live stream show from Pizza Hut? Do you know, I did a test the other day, just to let you know, so I'm not doing anything behind your back. But we have Hanami, cherry blossom going
Hmm.
on. So I thought it would be really cool to do a live stream from under the cherry blossoms.
Hmm.
So the way that we do it now, I've got a webcam in front of me right there, and my DJ Osmo, and the webcam is plugged into a computer. So this is the result that you get. So I know I can't do that. I can't plug a webcam into a cell phone or something. It just doesn't work. So I thought, well, I'm going to test doing a live stream using just my iPhone. So I went out to the park the other day and did a live stream, a private live stream. It didn't go public or anything like that, and it was terrible. Uh, it was it was not a good connection, and the image quality was poor, and the audio quality was poor. So I had to give up on that. Otherwise, I would do live from Pizza Hut live stream or something like that. I think would be really cool. But I don't see that in our future because of the technology. Oh, I did look into it, and they said, well, if you do it straight into YouTube, it doesn't work. But if you subscribe to this service and do this and do that and do something, and tap your head and rub your stomach and jump up and down on one leg, and I said, well, no, thank you. So sorry about that. All right. How about that American coffee? Makes me want to order Japanese rice. Yes. Well, they do say Japanese rice, right? Nihon no gohan, kome, right?
Mm.
But yeah, American coffee. I used to order it all the time, but not anymore. I like the full-bodied coffee these days. Hmm.
But you've been here too long.
Yeah, the first time I drank Japanese coffee at a coffee shop, I almost spit it out. It was so strong. Yeah.
So you were used to quote unquote American coffee.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And then I stayed away from America for I didn't go there for 10 years.
Hmm.
And during the bubble, I went and I stayed in a hotel, motel,
Hmm.
and there was this big spread of fruit, like a buffet of fruit, fresh fruit.
This is in the States.
Yeah, it was in
Hmm.
Tucson, Arizona.
Hmm.
And I sat down and they brought a big pot and put it down and they said complimentary coffee, So
Hmm.
I was sitting there and I said, that's the way it is, complimentary coffee. In Japan, you got to pay a lot of money. At that time, the exchange rate was opposite of what it is now. And I was saying, that's, America, they know how to do service. And I poured me a cup and I took a drink and I almost spit it out because it was
That's
so,
water.
it tasted
Yeah.
like dishwater. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was horrible. Yeah.
Yeah. Coffee
So,
has come a long way
yep.
in both countries.
Yep. 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 Japanese coffee is quite good. How about Vietnamese? Have you ever had Vietnamese coffee?
Is that so? So the short answer is no. I know Thai coffee. Is it like sweetened with condensed milk, or what is Vietnamese coffee?
Okay, I've never had it either, but I
Oh,
read something about it. Some guys said that I went to Vietnam, and Vietnam's got every place has got a coffee shop all over the place. And the big American chains or the big coffee shop chains can't make it in Vietnam because they have their own type of coffee. So I was
mm,
wondering about that. I wonder why. So I tracked it down, and they said that Vietnam, they raise Robusta coffee,
hmm,
which is
hmm.
really, really strong. So the coffee in Vietnam is super strong, and maybe they do have to cut it with milk or something like that. But a lot of Americans were complaining about Vietnamese coffee, saying it was horrible.
So
However,
so
mhm,
you finish. Then I'll mention about Robusta and Arabica coffee
yeah.
beans.
So
Go ahead.
Robusta coffee
Hmm.
evidently is good for instant coffee, good for making
Okay.
instant coffee. But the popular coffee in the States and probably in Japan too is Arabica.
Hmm. So my understanding is, and I just drink coffee. I'm not a super connoisseur like some people, but so Robusta I say Robusta. I could be saying it wrong. That's what you use to make quote unquote regular like brewed coffee. Then Arabica is used for making espresso. So Robusta is, I mean, maybe you could make it, and I think sort of like world production, Robusta is actually more than Arabica.
Really?
But yeah, so I'm not sure how. Yeah, I don't know enough about coffee to explain why. So the Vietnamese is made of Robusta. Hmm. Anyway, I guess if I go to Vietnam,
But
coffee
a
will
lot of
be high on my list. Yeah.
I saw 2 or 3 guys discussing, and they all said, "Oh, Vietnamese coffee is horrible." And as far
So
as the pronunciation of Robusta or Robusta, I've never heard the name. I never heard the word pronounced. Only I've
mhm.
read it, so I don't know how to pronounce it either.
Yeah, but it sounds like robust, right?
Right,
It's
that's why I
probably
pronounced it
related
that
to
way.
robust. That's
Yeah,
probably how it got its name.
I'm a Yankee, so yeah.
Yeah.
So
Um,
somebody, Steve Martin, have you ever been to Okinawa's outer islands? All right, that's a good question.
I've been to Ishigaki. I went scuba diving there. That was nice.
Vilangelina, hi, welcome to the party. All right. I take natto kinase as a nightly supplement, but it's
Mhm.
the real stuff. Gooey, slimy, hard to stomach. Okay. Must be good for you. All
You
right.
can buy supplements with natto kinase. Yeah.
Oh, kinase.
Yeah. So that's like it's like a biochemical suffix or something.
Well, why put a Jap? That didn't bother.
So
I pronounce it kinase because natto is in front of it.
right. So it's a kind of microbe that's in the natto, whatever you want to call it, organism or starter.
Being a healthy guy, I don't know any about other stuff.
Hmm.
You guys realize that natto is rotten beans? Yeah, yeah. I don't say
Well,
rotten.
cheese is rotten milk. You could say
Yeah,
rotten, but it's
yeah,
fermented, right?
yeah. Fermented, rotten, same difference.
Beer is
Yeah.
rotten barley, right?
Okay. Hey, Alexander Kurtz, only been to near the Naha area, but I spent a week in Chichijima, Ogasawara. I wish I could live there. Yeah. I've
Yeah,
never been to
now that
Okinawa.
now they're going to put the nuclear waste there.
Korea. Yeah.
That's the news. Maybe that's for next week. They're trying to get final approval to put it in. I want to say it's like Torinoshima or something like that, which is part of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Ogasawara
Yeah.
group.
So natto smells like someone hasn't washed their socks in a week. Yeah, I like that's what Japanese people say about root beer. Smells like salonpas.
It's just like the like being gay, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, and we have a okay. We got Steve and Alexander having a chat there. Um, what else we had? Most likely there was a famine and people had to eat rotten beans, and it remained in the culture. Yeah, well, this it's preservation, food preservation, right? All of these pickled
I,
foods and things like that.
I mean, who would think of eating blue cheese? But I guess you need all sorts of things to preserve food. So especially when you didn't have refrigerators.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
jerky, cheese, pickles,
yeah.
dried fruit,
Mm.
all sorts of things.
Steve asks, "What's that word for exotic food? Getebono? Is that what they call? Is that the proper word for?"
I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, I I do know the expression. I have heard of it. Getemono. Uh,
Hmm.
okay, I'm not going to screw around the other computer. I'll get distracted. Okay, here, Rich asked a question, and I was thinking about including this, but I didn't. So let's see what Rich has to say. What about the WC games only on Netflix? People in Japan are mad. Even Shohei Ohtani is upset. This was a question that I read. Anybody want to chime in? Karl?
I guess so. I am not currently subscribed to Netflix. I have been in the past, but I think that like you can get a month subscription for half off. I don't know when the games end, but for 500, like if you're a big baseball fan, 500 yen seems like a reasonable thing to pay. But I guess it's sort of like national pride, and it's not on TV, so. I wonder what Netflix had to bid to outbid, the it seems like it would be a natural to have it on broadcast TV. It's like, because NHK got something so important that they're not going to show the baseball games? Is it a problem that they have so many, like, does Netflix show, like, I don't know what the actual games are, Venezuela versus Dominican Republic, and like the ones that don't involve Japan as well? I don't know.
I think the problem is people don't want to pay for view, right? Or pay to watch.
Is it like my guess is if it's on Netflix, it's not like you don't have to pay per game. You have to just have Netflix subscription. And my point was, if it's only 500 yen or 1,000 yen for a monthly subscription, it's not so like if you really want to watch it, 1,000 yen is, for most people, it's not that big of a deal.
That's the way I look at it too. But the article that I read, people were talking about free TV. The sponsor supported free TV. And there was a discussion that I saw that was pretty interesting. I didn't know about it. And it said that the same question came up in the UK at one time. And the debate was going, one side said that something like a Olympics or an international competition is part of the national culture and part of the national existence. And so it should be shown like on, I guess it would be what, BBC or something like that,
in
where
Britain,
people can watch it freely.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are others who say that, well, like you just said, if you want to watch it that bad, pay, right? And then I saw another story. Some guy's got a baseball bar in Tokyo, and he subscribed to Netflix, and he was going to play the game in his bar so people can watch and drink. And somebody came after him. It was unclear. It didn't sound like a Netflix official came, but people were putting threatening, not really threatening, but kind of dark messages in his mailbox.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure that like when you get a Netflix subscription, that's for viewing in your own home, not for public. Because otherwise you just get a Netflix subscription and you have a movie theater and you like just show movies to whatever's on Netflix. You just show it to the public and you make money off it, and Netflix is not going to have that's going to violate the agreement. So that's not going to work, especially like a sports bar. Like there'll be plenty of people who would go to watch that, and you can't do that.
Well, I was wondering about that too, about the WBC. Why wasn't it on TV? Then I heard about the Netflix thing, and though I like to watch baseball, I just shrugged my shoulders because the decision was up to me: subscribe or give up. So I think that the people who are complaining about it are a little bit childish, huh? Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it would be more interesting if we knew what the numbers were that were involved. So, like, was NHK or the other networks, were they being like super stingy, or people just wanted to watch their regular shows, or was the World Baseball Classic asking for too much money and it was not going to be worth it financially? So who knows?
Well, I think that the only game that would have been worth watching was Italy beating the U.S.
Was that, I didn't notice? Is that because I didn't have
No,
Netflix?
I was
Is that,
surprised. I know
wow?
I saw a news story. Yeah.
Was that like something that because I would assume that the U.S. is one of the favorites and
Yeah.
Italy is not one of the
Yeah.
favorites.
Yeah.
But sometimes teams, AK is saying goodnight. Sometimes teams lose on purpose to like have a different opponent or something.
Yeah.
But who
Improve.
knows?
Yeah. Japan won all of their games. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. We still got some pizza leftovers here. Korean kimchi. Kimchi is the best pizza topping. I could see that.
No,
No?
thank you. No.
No?
I take anchovies over kimchi any day.
Okay. Okay. So natto with thin squid slices, shiso slices, and umebushi puree topping. I don't know.
That sounds like the ultimate no thank you.
Yeah, I don't think I'd go for that. I could probably eat it, but I wouldn't go out and search for it.
So it's, it's like, do you like sushi? Yes. Do you like ice cream? Yes. Do you want sushi ice cream? No, thank you. So like all of those things, like I'm fine with. I just don't want them all together.
David
On
Cole.
pizza. Yeah.
David Cole, strong opinion. Who are the idiots who are doing the scoring of Japanese pizza? They are terrible. Yeah.
What does he mean? Like rating who has the best pizza, or does he mean like cutting the
he
pizza?
said in the world pizza, Japanese pizza is often up there.
Yeah, but my guess is it's like specific restaurants, and those specific restaurants are probably really good. I've had really good pizza in Japan.
And like you say, that cuisine style pizza.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's quite different from the Chicago pizza I used to eat back when I was a kid, which, by the way, was not deep dish. The first time I heard of deep dish pizza, I was here.
Really?
When I was a young guy, there was no.
Because in Michigan, Uno's was, in whatever the 80s, in Michigan, then Uno's was a famous Chicago deep style pizza. In fact, even growing up, we had it wasn't one of the famous, Chicago companies, but they had Chicago style, and it was stuffed pizza, and that was the bomb.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
Well, if you look up Chicago style pizza on Wikipedia, it even says many people in Chicago say that deep dish stuff is not Chicago pizza.
Okay. Well, somebody in Chicago decided to make it because when I lived in Chicago in 92, 93, I went there, like a couple DiGiorno's maybe.
Oh, so that sounds familiar. Yeah. Okay. Ishigaki is a saltwater sports fisherman. The name rings a bell. Oh, those guys are having that side conversation. Squid pizza reminds me that I had to keep an eye on my girlfriend when fishing offshore. Had to make sure she wasn't sticking right from the bait bucket. Yay, Steve! Yeah, That's what that was one of my first reactions when I came here, and I saw those dried fish. And they sometimes in the snacks, sometimes used to put inside miso shiru. The first time I saw it, my first reaction was, "Oh, bait!" I didn't know it was for human consumption. We used to use bait like that to go fishing in Lake Michigan.
So it's actually probably even too small for bait, but shirasu.
Yeah.
And so I guess usually boiled and put on rice. And that stuff, I guess it's like baby anchovies, but that stuff, it tastes great. It just looks like something that you should be feeding to
Yeah.
something else, not eating it yourself.
Yeah. Okay. Kimchi, natto, umeboshi. You guys have been subjected to abuse. David Cole, he loves his standard pizza. David, where are you from? Are you from a pizza area originally? Let us know. Like I said, I'm from Chicago, and Karl's from Michigan, and I guess the East Coast is a pizza place too. And I hope the Kafun show is finished before Hanami. Otherwise, it'll be Hanamizu for me. Not Hanami.
Hanamizumi.
Yeah. I think we talked about Kafun last time.
Yeah, I
of
think
yen.
my Kafun friends are suffering right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Giant Trevally Maguro. I don't know what a giant Trevally is.
I wonder what giant trevally is in Japanese, because I have no idea what that is.
Okay. That's what drew me to Ogasawara. Kampachi amberjack from the shore. Once saw a local catch 10-kilogram tuna from the shore at Hachijoshima. He was pissed that it was only a yellowtail. I've got this echo in my headphones that's really screwing me up. I don't know if you noticed.
You're doing great.
Oh, really? Sometimes I get halfway.
Great.
I get halfway through a word and it throws me off. All right. Anyway, scuba got certified as a marine biology undergrad, but in the checkout dive, I ruptured my sinuses, got vertigo at the same time. That's when I decided to major in philosophy. Okay. I don't know about you guys, but I swim like a rock, so I never been a big one for scuba. Scuba occasionally. Kite surfing. Okay. Netflix leaked my personal info, and it took me a lot of time and trouble to fix it. That's what Rich said. Yeah. Yeah, I had a Netflix subscription for a while. And then I watched a couple of really good shows. And I think Mindhunter was one that I really liked. It was about the
Mindhunter.
Yeah. It was the early days of the FBI. What do they call that? What do they call it when they say, "Oh, the killer is a guy in his 30s and he drives a brown."
You're talking about like CSI sort of thing?
Not CSI. By looking at the clues, they're able to identify the
forensic.
There's a special word. Profiling.
Profiling.
Okay. Profiling team. And really, really interesting. I highly recommend it. Mindhunters, if you've got a Netflix. But I canceled my Netflix subscription because too many of the shows seemed intent upon pushing certain positions that I didn't hold, and I just got so disgusting after a while. I would start watching a series and think, "Wow, this is really good, so interesting," and then there would be a scene of, I don't want to go into details, but I just got sick of it.
So they seem like they had a political agenda.
Definite agenda.
Yeah.
More than a political agenda, a kind of social agenda. Okay. Anyway, kite surfing. Heard of kite fishing, but not kite surfing. Sounds like windsurfing, but with a sail attached by a rope. That's probably what it is. Have a good night, gentlemen. Okay, Alex.
See you next time. Thanks for all your comments.
I first ate deep dish pizza at Pizza Hut in California in 1975. Best pizza I ever had. Yeah, it is good. It is good, but I don't know. But calling it Chicago just doesn't.
Speaking of strange toppings on pizza, isn't there like California kitchen pizza or California pizza here, even Japan, where they have like Thai chicken as one of the toppings? So
Maybe
I guess
so.
there's all sorts of toppings that you might think are weird. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm not going to say anything about Californians being weird. So. One last thing. Actually, not those shiso slices. Squid thin slices with umeboshi puree on the top of rice is a traditional kate ryori. Nothing like mixing sushi and ice cream. Nothing like mixing sushi and
Because I
ice
had said sushi and ice cream is kind of like you like sushi and ice cream, but not together.
cream.
But but these
Okay.
other things, like he's saying, that they go together, like traditionally.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Isn't there a thing in Japan for where ice cream tempura?
I wanted. So there was a Mexican restaurant called Chi-Chi's, which the name would be strange in Japanese, but um, they had deep fried ice cream. I
Oh,
think um, I do believe that tempura ice cream exists somewhere. I can't recall when I had.
I've seen it. I've never had it, but boy, that
My
must.
feel my feeling is it's a gimmick, but maybe if I try it, I'm like, wow, this is not a gimmick. This is the real deal.
Okay. Your wish is my command. Bagami. No? Okay. There it is. This is Japanese tempura fried ice cream. Looks pretty good, actually. Don't you think?
Yeah, yeah, sure, why not?
How do they keep
Uh,
the fryer from exploding? I don't know.
my guess is that it's it's covered in a thick batter, and that the ice cream doesn't come into contact with the oil. But I don't know. That's just a guess.
Okay. David Cole kindly says, you don't need to go into detail about Netflix shows. We know what you're talking about. Starts with a T. What happened? Okay, there we go. Starts with a T. Starts with a T. Starts with a T. Starts with a T. I don't know what that means. T. T. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, but you know what I'm talking. I just couldn't take it after a while. Right? The older I get, the more televised or movie entertainment appears to be either propaganda or predictive programming. Yeah, for sure, for sure. California was paradise, but in the 1970s, but now it's paradise lost. Yeah, I don't know who to believe in what you see online, but some people are painting a real dire picture for California with the many companies leaving and things like that.
I think there's, if I'm not mistaken, a lot of the sort of the billionaire owners of the major companies, like for example, In-N-Out Burger moved to Tennessee or something like that recently, and
Yeah,
Tesla moved out and so forth.
yeah.
I think that they are uh, either threatening or have already passed a wealth tax. So if you own, let's say, $10 billion worth of stock and you haven't cashed it in or anything, they're going to have a one-time tax and say, "Oh, just give us 5% of that." And so if you leave, you can say, like these billionaires, they could save, depending on how many billions they have, you could save $1 billion. Like, but that's a good incentive for leaving the state. So, and they
Yeah,
bring their company with them.
I heard that Washington State has also passed a income tax. So the
Or
West
you
Coast
sorry, you mean a wealth tax?
income tax, Washington State, not California.
Yeah, yeah,
California's wealth.
but every state has income tax, right?
No, 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 no.
Michigan had income tax.
Let me see. Let me see.
So
Which
you file your federal taxes and then your state taxes, and there's like a couple states, like maybe Delaware, that doesn't have it or something, but for the most part, or maybe Texas doesn't have it. I think so. California has had probably pretty high state income tax, and then like Texas doesn't, and that's why another reason why people want to move from California to Texas.
Okay, here we go. States with no income tax.
And
Alaska,
it's
Florida, Nevada, New Hampshire, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, and Wyoming. Washington does not tax income, but
Mhm,
does tax capital gains of certain high earners.
mhm.
And I think they passed recently an income tax
Okay.
as well.
Mhm.
It's hard keeping them straight, right? Okay. And yeah, I could too. I love ice cream. Unfortunately, as I get older, ice cream doesn't love me so much, but I can't live without it. Hearing a lot on YouTube about the fall of California, even back in the 90s, adjunct professors in the Bay Area were reported to be living out of their cars. Yeah, the cost of living is really horrible, isn't it?
Uh,
Yeah.
I, I I graduated college in the 90s, and one of my friends moved to get a job in California. And um, you basically, on a starting engineer salary, which was not a bad salary, couldn't live in your own place. You had to like have a share house or some other sort of arrangement. I've heard of people living in their cars too, but yeah,
Hmm.
it's a nice place, but the cost is just crazy.
Well, yeah, it was considered heaven not that long ago, right? Everybody
So
wanted to go to California.
so a few years ago, there was a problem with the airlines, and I to come back to Japan instead of a direct flight from Detroit, I took a flight through Los Angeles to save a couple $100, and the flight from LA to Tokyo got canceled. Fortunately, the airline picked up the tab for the hotel, but I asked at the hotel, so they put us up in a hotel, and I asked at the hotel, oh, if I had to pay myself, how much would this room be? And it was like $500 a night. It wasn't a bad room, but it was just a bed until my flight the next day. But 500 yen, sorry, $500, like 90,000 yen at the time. That was like all the savings for not flying back direct was gone in the hotel room.
Yeah.
That was pretty pricey. And then, of course, breakfast at the airport, that's like $30. So, yeah, it's in
Mm,
crazy prices.
mm. Okay. Well, I wonder if these companies leaving will eventually have an effect on that. 'Cause yeah, I think Chevron didn't leave, but they left took out a whole bunch of
No, yeah,
refineries.
you're right. I think that there was one of the refining companies or petroleum companies that did leave. So,
Okay. Got a report on how fried ice cream works. The ice cream is full of air bubbles, and they insulate it from the oil and make it float. That's interesting. All right, thank you, Rich. Just guessing, but that widening economic app in California, along with China's social credit system, appear to be globalist WEF wet dreams. Yep, they sure do. Yep, this globalism. Huh? Don't get me started. Many states don't have state income tax. Uh, Eric Rosvold. Okay, thank you, Eric. All right. And I'm retired, and there's no way I could move back to California. I'm here in Japan for life. 20% on medical costs can't be beat. Yeah. The two things that are great about Japan, no matter what, are the medical insurance and safety, social safety, safety on the streets where you
yeah,
can
I
go out.
mean, those are both great, right?
Yeah. Yeah. The two biggest sales points of Japan. All right. Woodstock era California, the birds, the mamas and the papas, the whole Laurel Canyon scene versus now. What the hell happened? Makes you wonder, doesn't it? The whole West Coast, as a matter of fact. Um, Seattle, Portland, Those places seem to be falling apart. What did they? The mayor, not of Seattle, but the mayor of Portland, that woman.
Hmm.
Some retailers, big retailers, are getting fed up with the crime and things like that in downtown, so they want to close their stores. And she says she's going to make it illegal for them to close, which sounds pretty queer,
It's yeah,
crazy.
Yeah. I don't know.
Mamas, mamas and papas, mamas. Okay, mamas and papas, not momos. Mamas. All right, we got one more here. California dreaming no more. Right, California nightmare. Okay. Yeah, like I said, California was the dream place for many people not that long ago. But now I think you'd have to be crazy to move there. But they still seem to, like you said, pass even more destructive laws, taxes, and things like that, policies. Yeah, it makes you wonder why.
Building
Yeah.
utopia is harder than it sounds.
Yeah, yeah. Mayor of LA, got to be W economic fundee. Yeah, that's that lady who got in trouble during the fire. She was off gallivanting around in
Oh,
Africa.
the mayor was over in Africa or something like
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
and didn't really want to come back or
yeah.
had issues with responsibility.
Okay, Rich is saying good night. I think we're going to say good night too. I think our topics have run their life. I had one more that I wanted to cover, but we'll let that go. I'll be back here on Wednesday by myself, and Carl and I will be back here next Saturday. And Carl, you got anything to say to wrap up?
I have some mind hugger and the pizza nishigaki. I have some things that I'm going to look up based on everybody's tips after this. So
Yeah,
thanks for that.
Mine Hunter.
Yeah.
Really good stuff. I highly recommend, especially if you're interested in mass murderers. Okay.
Right.
So David says some of the chat posts didn't show up in my feed. I screwed up the setup on this, so it may show up in the replay if you want to go to see that later. Okay, everybody. Thank you so much. Have a nice weekend, and we'll see you the next time. Bye.
See you guys. Bye.